In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the decisions agent to talk to a database that's on another computer, which could also be on another network or behind a different firewall. In this case, you'll see I am remote desktop into a computer named Curtis, and on Curtis's local SQL Express instance is a table named sample table with a few columns in it. Now, in order to access Curtis's database remotely without any other kind of setup, I need to install the agent. So in this case, I'm going to browse to another computer. In this case, I'm going to browse to the Decisions installation on my application server, which is named Winter. And under Systems, Agent, I'm going to add or register a new agent here. And I'm going to call this the Curtis agent and say OK. When you add or register a new agent, an agent file is built specifically for a single-use download with a special set of encryption keys, and you're given an installer for that agent to be run on the computer that's receiving it. So in this case, I'm going to call this new decisions agent and say save. And that file is going to take a couple minutes to download here. And now it's saved. So on Curtis, I'm able to go to the folder where I saved it. Temp, new decisions agent, and run the installation. Now, once I run the installation, it's downloading .NET 4 because I didn't even have .NET 4 on this particular computer. After the agent is finished downloading and installing, you should be able to go under the agents folder, and under the Curtis agent, you'll see that the computer's identity has been sent up by the agent, and you can now clearly see that this computer is connected. At this point, I'm going to dismiss my remote desktop connection, and I'm back on my local computer, and now I'm going to go to System, Flow Management, just like I would to create any other database integration. Only this time when I pick databases and I say Add Database, I have the option to connect using an agent. And this option works both in the standard database integration UI and in the wizard. And in this case, I'm going to use the wizard. So we're going to call this SampleDB on Curtis. I want to connect using an agent. I want to specify specific tables, specify specific stored procedures. Actually, there are no stored procedures, so I won't select any there. And say Next. Now it asks who the provider is, what the connection string is, and which agent I want to use. And so in this case, I want to use the Curtis agent because that's the only agent I have configured. And I need to use a connection string template here. So we'll go with something like this. Okay. Now the data source is going to be relative to the machine that the agent is on, so it'll actually be local SQL Express. The database name, I think, was Sample or Samples Database. We should double check. I'm back on Curtis and Remote Desktop. It was just called Sample. Great. So we're going to connect to Sample. We're not going to use integrated security. And let's test that connection. So now the portal is going to communicate with the agent. The agent's going to communicate with the database, and we can see that our connection to the database succeeded. When we hit Next, we're now able to go and select from any of the tables that exist in that database. So now we can see the sample table is available to us. We can say Next. There will be no stored procedures. Our process is done, and we can see our new steps, and we can go and use them in a workflow, and those steps will, by default, connect through the agent on Curtis to talk to the database, assuming that this application server hosting the decisions platform cannot communicate with that database directly.